Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Yeah.
The views expressed by J. Michael McCoy are the views of the hosts and guests of Max World Live, and not necessarily the views of Webcast One Live, its staff, its management, the cleaning crew, Dave the electric guy, the guy who cleans the skywalk, the woman who brought in the cookies, the management staff of Hubble Real Estate, the parking lot attendant at Keck Parking, the wait staff over at Miss Kitty's, the coffee crew at Frederick's, the man in the street corner willing to work for food, Rob Spearman, Max Crabb, or anyone else of sound mind. Should you be offended, provoked, intimidated, shocked, confused, or just made to think independently, log on to MaxWorldLive.com right now. It's your voice we want to hear in Max World. And now, live from the palatial studios of Webcast One Live, your host, J. Michael McCoy.
All right, thank you, Michael Libby. Here we are, 4 minutes after the hour on a great day. We sure appreciate you being here. It's Tuesday, and that means we talk politics. Tom Coates is still on vacation, and so I have invited my old, well, he's young.
Where is Tom?
Former, huh?
Where is Tom?
Tom's like in Mexico.
I figure he'd be more like a Thailand guy, maybe the Dominican.
No. He's a Mexico.
Oh.
You don't have to have a passport to go to Mexico, right?
You do if you want to get back.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't think you do.
Well, is someone driving you in like the back of a nondescript Geo?
I don't know.
Now I see where he gets his money from. No more questions. I don't need Gus Fring coming after me.
Anyway, Bradshaw's in here, and Michael Mudloff was supposed to be in later this week, but his schedule got difficult, so I invited him in today. And not sure how much you're going to want to participate in conversations of politics, but you're a smart guy, so I'm sure you can probably whip us both.
Well, it's my first experience with Bradshaw, so we'll see how it goes.
He's really well behaved. Okay, Chris has got...
That's not what you told me in the past.
Well, no, in the past he wasn't.
Oh.
I was very well behaved in the past.
On this radio station...
The fact that Mac has not been throttled by me. There hasn't been any percussive maintenance on his skull. I'm incredibly well behaved.
So he has a somewhat good measure of self-control is what you're saying.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
Oh.
If he wasn't in the room, I would tell you that I love this man like a little brother and that he is extremely intelligent, very well-spoken, has the progressive narrative down at a doctorate level.
Well, good.
Not at a white trash playground level, which most low-information voters sit at.
So he's prepared to tell us all about President Obama's veto of the Keystone Pipeline bill that just went down within the hour.
Excellent.
Absolutely. And the other secret is I'm going to get him for Jesus. I'm discipling this guy. One day, it may be on his deathbed, he's going to say, all right, Jesus, come to me. And then, we can spend eternity having radio shows in heaven.
If that happens, I know we'll hear all about it.
We will. So you want to start with Keystone?
Sure.
What a dumb thing. What a stupid
I know.
thing.
It's an incredibly stupid issue, but Republicans are going to, if that's the hill you guys want to plant on, all yours.
Well, forget the politics for
35 full-time, long-term jobs.
Okay, let's forget the politics for a moment.
All right.
We move oil. We make money.
We move Canadian.
I know.
To the Gulf where it goes elsewhere.
But it also goes through our refineries.
Not necessarily, no.
Oh yeah. They can't.
Refinery capacity. In all honesty, that's not a problem. We need more refinery capacity in general. It's why we get all those fun.
But why turn it down? What's wrong with the Keystone Pipeline?
It's a messy business, and I don't want it going through my backyard or yours. So it's not necessarily a NIMBY issue.
But
Canadians are happy with it going through their backyard.
Then more power to them, eh? They also enjoy Tim Hortons and hockey.
But why is it a bad thing? I just can't figure it out. We need oil. There is everything we have in this studio somehow was made with oil. Our phones, our plastics,
and we
our
did
keyboards, our microphones, our wood, our paint.
And we did it all without a ginormous pipeline, dissecting the country.
Dissecting? Is that what you'd say about a brand new interstate that was going to come from Canada down to New Orleans?
Yeah, but I find use in interstates.
I find use in oil.
I find use in oil as well. Again, not a big problem. In fact, with our disturbingly low oil prices, our artificially low oil prices these days.
So low, in fact, that the governor of our state, who's a Republican, just got his bill passed to raise the gas tax.
Yeah, completely overdue. Branson and I don't agree on a lot of things.
But if the gas prices were still over $4 a gallon, he'd have never even attempted this.
Gas swings more than 10 cents, month to month. Most people,
but it'll always be 10 cents higher than it would have been now.
And I'm good with that. So we should be investing in our roads and bridges. 26% of the bridges in the state are structurally deficient or just completely structurally obsolete.
So you have confidence then that the government will actually do with the money what they claim they're going to do with the money?
If we had a Democratic governor, yes.
All right.
I love that.
When
yes,
Branstad and I don't agree on a whole heck of a lot.
All right. Now,
and you know what? There should be hell to pay. And I don't care what letter is next to your name. If that money does not get funneled and we don't see a market improvement in our roads, bridges, and infrastructure, then there should
Will
be
there
hell to pay.
be an upswing of people complaining if that doesn't happen? And how long do we give this governor and his staff an opportunity to
Odds
make some
are it will be the
progress?
next governor that will do the heavy lifting here.
Yeah, but the money starts coming in next month.
Yeah, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But the real, and again, I apologize. I don't know if there is some sort of Chairman Branstad's 5-year economic literal road plan for success. It may be in a bunker somewhere. Who knows? Maybe Eric's guarding it. But the real, let's start extending these roads. Let's rebuild these bridges. That's not something you put together overnight or even in a month or two.
Okay, let's go down your path, your way of thinking.
All right.
Our roads need help, terrible help.
Not
right?
just roads, by the way. And we talked about this last week. We as a nation have been kicking the can forward when it comes to infrastructure.
Our infrastructure.
Everything from gas lines, power grid, water lines.
Okay, so
we've been living off the infrastructure of the silent generation.
Okay. So the big oil rigs, the semis, the 18-wheelers that cause ultimate destruction of our highways and roads, the ones that go quietly into the country and destroy country roads, wouldn't we be better off to have a single pipeline that delivered that to our refinery than destroy millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of miles of roads?
We don't truck all of that. In fact, we move a lot of stuff by rail, which I'm a big fan of.
Sure, until there's a big rail destruction with oil on it and it wipes out some marshland. Are you tree huggers going to stand up and say, wait a minute, that's not a good idea?
We generally tend to be against ecological disasters. Just in general. Okay. I hate to stereotype, but I don't want to speak for everyone on the left.
There are more major railroad crashes than there are ever pipeline leaks.
No, there's almost constant pipeline leaks.
Where?
Everywhere.
Where? Just tell me where. Let me look it up. I don't want to take your word for it.
Go ahead and look.
We just had a major crash, 3 days ago, of a railroad, and it was all carrying oil. And it blew up this little town, destroyed this little town, killed like 13 people. Pipeline, that wouldn't happen. And what are you afraid of? The oil dripping out of the pipeline and hurting the ground? Because remember, that's where it came from. Oil is from the ground. How can you hurt the land if you're putting on it what was already there?
You've been in real estate long enough to know location, location, location. If it's buried miles under the ground, it's a little less destructive than covering a bird.
Yeah, we're talking North Dakota.
Yeah, right. We're talking North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska. I don't think Kansas. I think Missouri, Arkansas, and Louisiana.
But I don't see why this has become such a cause celeb on the right. I'd say jihad, but I'm going to be respectful to my
well, why are you so against
present
it?
company. I don't see the long-term purpose of it. I want to. I mean, I guess
oil.
It's strictly just because it's one of. We've talked about this before as well. It ticks liberals off. Is almost the.
I'm sorry, guys. Go back in your corner and whine like a baby.
No.
You don't get everything you want.
It's not a matter of getting everything we want, but it's bad if Obama does it. Has been a central tenet of conservative politics.
This has been on the table before his
since
administration.
2008.
The Canadians passed this 8 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
No,
So
again,
and they tend to be more left than we are as a country.
generally
They're for it.
better with healthcare at least.
Well, that's a matter of opinion, but still, I think that the argument goes that this is a matter of energy dependency, and so if there's anything stereotypical about the current administration, it's that they don't want us to be an independent nation. They want us to be interdependent. They want us to be dependent on other countries and have us not have any particular.
We are
advantage.
dependent. I mean, there is
Well, I
a
know, but
world
this-
supply of oil that
that's
we
right.
are
But
subject
but
to.
there's a reason why the market has gone down. There's
Yeah.
several reasons. There's all
Well,
kinds of reasons.
most of
but
it
one
is-
of them is because
Most of it is to
the
price out
politics.
the shale folks
That's true. That's
and
true.
discourage
So there's several different
investing
there's
in
several
alternative
different,
technologies.
several different political issues that impact oil. It's not just politics in the Middle East. It's not just production. It's all of those things and more. So I think that the primary issue in the narrative is decreasing our dependence on foreign oil.
Now, do we produce more oil now than we did in 2008?
We do now because of the shale
Correct.
production.
So how are we
And
impeding
we're
things
just over
with
$2 a
Keystone?
gallon instead of $4.50.
Well, again, that's not our doing. That's OPEC.
Well, it's
they
both.
want to
that's because
crash
they
the market,
think that,
and they've done a very successful
well,
job. of it.
they but they're not making any money right now, so they think they can wait us out.
Long-term thinking, again, rare in American business these days, but generally pays off. My guess is we're not long to see, before we start seeing the Canyonero showing up on dealership, stores again. That's their goal. They don't want us investing in alternative technology. They don't want us putting money into solar, wind, geothermal, you name it. That's bad long-term
Who's
business
the
for
they?
them. Most of the large oil-producing nations of the
Okay,
OPEC.
because
basically.
I don't think you can say that across the board with conservatives. There are many conservatives who are for the development of alternative resources.
Ethanol, but most of those live here in Iowa.
Yeah.
No, I'm
That
talking
is
about
an
oil
alternative.
producers.
That is an alternative.
Not really. I mean,
resource.
not a good one.
May not be the best
Self-immolation is an alternative to chemotherapy, just not one I would recommend.
Yeah, he's clever, this Bradshaw.
I am.
This is how he always changes the subject.
No,
He
it's
gets
not a
to
matter of changing the subject. It's a matter of, yes, ethanol is
an alternative.
An alternative, but
we're
it
in
is
agreement on that.
It is
It's
a
just
very
whether or not it's a good one.
costly. Yeah, exactly. Is it a good alternative?
I myself would rather have our soybeans made into something other than food, but that's just me.
Pastor,
Yeah.
my dear loving
You want me to pray?
pastor, 3 hours a day,
You put up with him for all
5 days a week,
how many years?
for 5 years. He's the reason I drank.
Now, as your pastor or one of your pastors, I need to tell you, you need to take personal responsibility. You cannot blame Mr. Bradshaw over here for your lack of self-control.
My wife and he were the reason I drank. All right, let's take a break. Pastor Michael Mudloff in the house from Westkirk Presbyterian Church. He was supposed to be on later this week. His schedule didn't fit, so I invited him to come in and talk politics, and I'm glad I did because he's smarter than me. Bradshaw's in the house. When we come back, a West Des Moines student expelled for fighting in a race-related fight. That is on its own. The thing that disturbs me has nothing to do with the fight. That and later on, I figured it out. No, I'm serious. I wrote a blog. Go to macmccoy.com and click on Obama's master plan. I'll enlighten you later here with Bradshaw live on The Truth. Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places, especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart, and it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
All right, welcome back. 21 minutes after the hour, some of my most fun days on the radio in my entire life were with this young man, Bradshaw. For those of you that listened at the time, I have made my amends to you. I'll make them publicly. I'm sorry for some of the way I treated you because I wasn't very nice and polite.
I apologize for nothing.
And but it was
He's
still
gracious too.
no.
Oh no, we and I've told other people this, and I've said it on here before. You and I, before any of this fired up again, we had a nice, long sit down. There were some misconceptions.
Yeah.
Relationships are hard.
But most of it really was my fault. I mean, I really was an angry conservative. You know, we had a thing that he used to say to me. You know, because of course you couldn't see anything, so he would say to me, "Tone, because I'd get angry and I would lose my temper on the radio, and especially when we talked about faith and value. Oh, don't get into a conversation with this man about faith and values. But I'm discipling him.
That's good.
Yeah, he's coming along now.
I'll be praying about that. Is that what happened to your finger, by the way? Your middle finger? Is
No.
that from flipping them off
No.
repeatedly over all those years?
No. I'd like to give you some grand story, but the truth of the matter is, I let my puppy Picasso. For those of you on the webcast, I let my puppy Picasso.
Giving your
out.
audience the finger.
I'm not either.
It's a finger. It's not the finger.
I was letting my puppy out, Picasso, and Picasso. You've never met Picasso, you have, but he's a jumper. He's a whippet, and so he's just this happy jumping dog. and I forgot that it had thawed. And I let him back in the house, and we have white carpet. And so I just had these little footprints all over the front part of my house. So I had to get down on my hands and knees and rub out the dirt, and it rolled over on me and popped my tendons. Didn't hurt. Didn't hurt.
I don't care. It hurt me hearing that. Don't.
But I have to leave it in this little brace for 8 weeks. And then if it drops, if it still droops, I've got to get a needle, rod in it, which I don't really want to do.
No, well,
I think
wouldn't want a droopy middle finger for anybody.
I think the droopy middle
Even
finger
Bradshaw.
gives me character. I just thought it did.
How would you drive then?
With a droopy middle finger?
All right,
a good
let's
one.
move on.
He's witty. I like him.
West Des Moines student expelled for fighting. At least one of the fights was race-related. Security was heightened after the incidents, but officials say the school has calmed and they are reflecting on ways to address challenges going forward. They convened a special closed session to discuss the students' discipline. The board, having reconvened, unanimously voted to expel a student for the remainder of the second semester. The student's name and school building were not disclosed.
Good.
Wrong.
Minor.
I don't care.
Not your business.
I don't care. Here, and I had this same situation happen to me with one of my grandsons. In this situation, my grandson was suspended from school for 3 days.
Well, now we know who that kid was.
Because he, some kid got in his face and hit him in the hand and make him drop all his pencils all over. And so my grandson just popped him up against the wall. Okay. We as parents were not told the student's name. We were not told what punishment he received. We were not allowed to see the videotape in which the school district made all these decisions. Now, and we've had these conversations before, that's big brother baloney.
No, that's the way schools have been for decades.
But it shouldn't be. Just because it's been that way doesn't mean it's the right thing.
No, it should be that way.
I
because
should know what student is beating up on kids.
We've had this conversation a few times. Who was that poor gal out in Waukee? Family had to flee the state. Remember? There were fake bomb threats or something.
Yeah.
And it turned out it made it in the newspaper and everyone knew their names. Turned out it was nothing. But, hey, you know what? Again, I don't remember the girl's name, but Google her, and I guarantee you the first thing that's going to come up is, terrorism bomb threats. And enjoy that for the rest of your life.
But I don't understand why when the bully gets punished.
Well, we don't know that he was the bully. We don't know.
He got expelled for
any
heaven's
of the
sakes.
details.
Okay.
Now, again, it's been a few years, like 20, since I roamed the halls at Valley. And back then, there was a lot of strife. There's a lot of friction there between the haves and the have a whole heck of a lots. But I do remember things getting really blown out of proportion. I don't even know the kids' names. But like the hillbillies who would show up in their trench coats before trench coats became cool in '98. But if literally were considered by the West Des Moines police to be a gang.
If the student's actions were so bad that he must be expelled from the presence of other school kids, don't you think that's a name society should know?
No, because if he follows the rules that were laid out by the school board, then come next fall, he's back in school.
Okay, so let's say I know somebody who goes to Valley High School and they tell me the name. Am I wrong in putting it on the radio?
Yeah, I think
Why?
you are. Because they're kids. Kids are stupid.
Kids. What if this is a 17-year-old kid?
Then
It is a 17-year-old.
by default, he's a kid. You just said it.
Here's my issue with it. I think the problem is not that we should know the name. So I think I side with Bradshaw on that, but I'm in agreement with you, Mac. The problem is we do not have confidence that a process is in place to actually help kids or anybody else for that matter that brings about any kind of rehabilitation or justice for the victims in this case. So, I think part of your point is if we expect justice to be done, something a decision needs to be made that will help this student recognize the consequences of his actions. And I think you're expressing that you just don't have any confidence that that's part of the plan. And since they won't release the guy's name, which I don't disagree with, you're not confident that anything meaningful has happened to this student. I mean, he's probably free just to open enroll anywhere else.
Sure.
And commit. I'm assuming and trusting that what the student did was worthy of being expelled, and that
This
they
is
have enough
expelled,
evidence,
not suspended.
right, for the rest of the year.
Go away. You're not safe. My kids are not safe around you.
Yes,
But go ahead and go to East.
well, we don't know that. We don't know that. See, that's part of the problem here. We don't have confidence in what the decision was or what kind of consequences the kid is going to experience that are going to help him in the future, because all of that stuff is undisclosed.
Yeah, I mean,
School board president David Brown said he wasn't able to comment on specifics.
Well, that's because you got lawyers involved.
Yeah, students'
And there's
discipline is subject to privacy obligations.
Another news source has just reported a couple hours ago that there's lawsuits pending. So, when you get the lawyers involved, then nobody knows nothing.
yeah, again, though, it goes back to Governor Branstad, one of his final gifts to the state. Near the end of his first go-around, was to allow the media to put the names of juveniles accused of crimes out there. A more conspiratorial man than myself would believe that this was payback for everything that his son went through with his little, auto shenanigans. So now, hey, kids throw a kegger, their names show up in the newspaper, and there's no need for that. When it comes to schools, and be it an elementary, middle school, high school, university, you name it. Again, there's some serious privacy rules there, and there should be. If this kid didn't do anything, my guess is what you have is a series of events, a series of bad decisions, or poor impulse control, whatever you want to call it, on this kid's part.
And now he's going to go.
But that's between him and that's between him, his parents, and the school. That's not your business. It's not mine.
All right, so West Des Moines School District.
Or the Des Moines School District.
No.
Or if he's going to go end up in one of their schools.
Hold on. According to privacy rules, if he free enrolls.
Open enrolls.
If he open enrolls and goes to Urbandale, West Des Moines cannot tell Urbandale what's going on. If he open enrolls to South, West Des Moines cannot tell them what's going on. That's when the privacy rules go wacky.
I've never shopped at a Fashion Bug. I'm not a teacher or a school administrator of any some sort, but I would assume that would be included somewhere in his scholastic record. Just a hunch.
I just read to you that privacy laws don't allow the student's name, his act of whatever.
But does that mean that his record does not show he's been expelled?
That's the whole point, is that you don't have access and I don't have access, nor should we have
Nor will Urbandale or
They'll
East.
have his scholastic record.
No, they won't. It's closed. It's private. It's privacy laws.
Okay. If you Mercy and you ask for the results of, a mole I had removed, you going to get them?
No.
Now, if the Mayo Clinic calls Mercy and says, hey, can I get Bradshaw's records for the mole removal? You'll get them.
You have to approve. You have to say yes.
Yeah.
Right?
So I'm guessing
So what if the kid's parents say,
no,
no, I don't want anybody to know what happened. We're just open enrolling.
Then he will probably magically be declined for some sort of reason.
But what if he's not? It's more likely that
then
he's
he'll
not
get
going to be declined.
Then it'll either click with him and he's a kid, or he'll get himself expelled. To quote a great American, the world needs ditch diggers too.
Okay, so now he hurts another kid. So now your kid, and I know you don't have children yet, but now this kid, you've got your kid in the Dallas Center Grimes School. Nice, small town school. This kid comes over and beats the crap out of your kid, and you found out this was the kid that got expelled, and nobody told you what happened. You're not going to be furious?
I'd be furious at the kid.
That the school, that the government allowed him to come into your community without letting the community know that
he has a right to an education, and I don't have a right to his private life.
See, this is what happened.
Is this what gets you worked up?
Yeah, well, but see, it's this same thinking, and don't go off the deep end here, but it's this same thinking that's going to ruin us with pedophiles.
What?
It's the same thinking. Well, they have a problem. They can't help it. Okay, it's a sickness. It's something they don't choose to do, and we don't have any right to tell them where they can live and where they can't live, and the neighbors don't have any right to know who they are because it's a sickness. It is the
Hold on. I've never said anything of the
It
sort.
is the progressive liberal mind that says I don't need to take responsibility for my actions, and you don't need to know about it.
I'm not saying
Well,
that. If
I
this
go
kid
back to my
commits-
comment before. We do not have in our society and in our culture a meaningful, effective way to deal with these sorts of things. You used to be able to put people to work in order to get them to pay back what they owe for crimes. We can't do that anymore.
Right.
The flip side to that, the scenario you're painting, Mac, is we've got people who, just on the basis of being accused, maybe rightly, maybe wrongly, for a crime, are now on a list and they can't find a place to live, and they can't get a job.
Right.
And so, we got a problem with that too. We can't have people going around becoming dependents on the state because they can't find a place to live and they can't get a job anywhere because their name is on a list. Somehow we have to have something better than that. We have to find, I hate to say a middle ground, but there's got to be a way to be more effective in dealing with these things.
Have you and I found common ground here?
I think so.
Are you okay?
Do you know
Okay.
Jesus? Let me tell you about
hold
Jesus.
on. Did you see that just a minute ago?
What?
There was a flock of pigs flying.
Yeah. You know what? He's in
And
the
hell
best.
just froze over.
He's in the best shape of his life. I didn't like the deal to send Jesus Montero to the Mariners, but I think that deal may actually pay off for them.
Excellent.
All right, we're coming up on our second break. When we come back, apparently now everybody in Iowa says fireworks are okay. Because I feel like they are? Because fireworks are more
No,
safe?
because everybody else does it.
Pastor Michael Mudloff, Bradshaw, Ryan's producing. I'm J. Michael McCoy. Thanks for listening to The Truth, 99.3.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid,
I am Bernie Hobbs,
and I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team,
I'll take a call anytime.
and then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're gonna make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
All right, 22 minutes before the top of the hour. Salem Radio Network News, and then the incredible, masterful Presbyterian pastor that he is, Michael the Cue Ball Mudloff.
Hey.
Will be live with True Blue from West Creek Presbyterian.
I'm going to have to listen to that.
You and Chris Roloff do a good job on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really do enjoy it. Because by the time I get out of my studio here and walk to my car, because I walk miles and miles with bread bags on my shoes and hot potatoes in my socks just to keep warm, and I get to my car and I finally can turn on the radio. It's usually then the two of you. And I've been able to
you were spared
avoid,
the sermon.
I mean, I've sadly missed the sermon. But,
well, I know that Bradshaw's anxious to listen to it on his way home today, too.
Yes,
so
yes, he is. He was listening to Ask Dr. Brown coming in.
I want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
Michael Brown?
You really don't.
What did I say?
Dr. Brown.
Yeah, Michael Brown.
Yeah.
All right.
Brown? Great Scott.
Real quickly before
I had a fella come to church this Sunday for the first time named Charlie Brown.
Really?
Yeah, I was excited about
Charles?
Did you hold a football out for him?
No, I did not.
What'd you ask?
I held a football out for
I did
him.
ask if his wife was Lucy, but it wasn't.
Did you ask?
Mm-hmm.
And what did he say?
No, I met her too, and her name wasn't Lucy.
Oh. All right. In the next segment, we'll have about 7 minutes left when we come back, and I want to share with you, and maybe these guys will stick around, maybe they won't, but I think I figured out Obama's master plan. And in many ways, I'm not against it. I mean, this is like the second time in 6 years that I've said, wow, maybe this guy's got it going on. And I blogged it, so I made it public. It's macmccoy.com, and it's called Obama's Master Plan. And I'll share it with you. But
For the record, by the way, he does have it going on.
Yeah, no, I don't think he does. All right, so did Hitler have it going on?
He did have a master plan.
You just Godwined us?
Yeah, did Hitler have a master plan? Okay, enough said. So now the big poll is, after years and years and years, you've lived here all your life. Have fireworks ever been legal here?
Not in
your lifetime?
This goes back to what I've been told the story before, but I don't remember it. But years ago, someone got hurt. Lots of people got hurt, and it's been banned ever since, and no one cares because we all drive to Eagleville and get them anyway.
Right, but you can be arrested for firing them off.
Not in Clear Lake.
Not in Clear Lake?
I've never heard of anyone.
I've heard a lot of fireworks, but I've never heard any sirens.
Arrested. Now, I've had large amounts seized.
I'm talking fireworks now.
Yeah. When I was a kid, we would have kind of a block party. And
I bet you liked the little black snakes the most, didn't you?
No, I was like the tanks, anything that you could attach to a Hot Wheels car or a G.I. Joe and send it into orbit. That was more my speed. And then I started rolling my own, and then, life got a lot more interesting that way. But generally, we would have the one neighbor with a stick in a very inopportune place who would call and complain. Cops would come, seize your stash, and everyone would just, get maddeningly, blindingly drunk. Instead. But generally, the cops look the other way unless you're doing something obnoxious or, it's before the 4th or after the 5th.
Well, according to the Des Moines Register and Tribune, they still call it the Des Moines Register and Tribune. I don't figure that out. But anyway, the Des Moines Register and Tribune. 60%.
The R&T.
The R&T. 60% or more of men and Iowans under 35, parents and Republicans, favor legalizing fireworks. This, according to the results of the new Des Moines Register Iowa poll. 62% of the men say they want it compared to 48% of the women.
I had a nickel for every time I heard that.
Huh?
So anyway, about the fireworks.
Yeah?
Come on.
Yeah,
Does
I'm
anyone
the pastor.
really want
I got it. That was clever.
Anyone really want to ban those? I mean, does anyone really care?
Apparently, 52% of women
I've got
do.
a dog that hates them, okay? But he doesn't get to vote. Yet. Until I get my acorn ballots.
But does he get to marry?
No.
Not
no
yet.
matter what Rick
Not yet.
Santorum says. And you can spread that far and wide.
I've Googled it. I understand.
No, it's again, no one cares. No one really cares.
All right, other polls that the Register took: Iowans support tougher texting while driving laws.
Down with that.
You asking my opinion?
Uh-huh.
I'm not. I'm for less laws. Not
Less
more.
laws. Okay, good. You're a good libertarian. Iowans support proposed anti-bullying laws.
Yes.
No.
That's crazy. That's just crazy. That's just crazy.
I mostly said no just to be in the opposite of Bradshaw.
I know. I can't believe this is happening in my lifetime.
I'm glad it's happening in my lifetime.
Bullying has a political agenda. That's the only problem with it.
That's the only
legitimate
problem.
bullying, nobody likes it. Nobody wants it.
Yeah.
But
the whole
everybody's,
point of bullying-
everybody's called bullies now.
The whole point of bullying legislation is that schools aren't allowed to look the other way. I don't care what your football record is.
That's good, and I'm all for that. But as much as it has a political agenda, then I think it goes out of control.
And again, this is what it should be. Schools should not be allowed to look the other way, because when I roamed the halls of, Indian Hills, Valley High School, they didn't want to know about
it. To be a
it.
rite of passage or something.
Yeah, and that was.
I agree.
That was
we've got 12-year-old girls now completing suicide, in part due to bullying. 12-year-olds. It's
and again,
so it's a legitimate issue, provided again it's real bullying going on and not an attempt to advance a political agenda.
Here's my old man position on this, and I know this is going to sound like old geezer. Wouldn't it be a lot easier to teach our kids just not to be offended than it would be to try to change all the laws and the culture?
Real bullying goes past that, though. Real bullying is not somebody said something naughty to me or something,
What is real bullying?
Real bullying is intimidation. It's threats. It's physical intimidation or actual punishment. Not punishment. What's the word I'm thinking of here, Brad? When physical.
But there's like actual physical altercation,
abuse,
and there's usually
sort.
a group at it.
But you just said physical, and I'm okay with that. I don't believe anybody should put their hands on anybody else. But to say I'm going to kick your behind and now be arrested because I threatened you, that's asinine.
It's not just that.
You make a good point. You make a good point, but it's difficult. It's a difficult situation. I mean, and part of it, I think, is a cultural thing that you bring up, Mac. Part of it is, what do they call it? The wussification of America.
Absolute feminization.
So we have, well, that's not what I said, but whatever. We have a culture now that believes that if anybody says anything they don't like, they can be offended,
right.
and it's something litigious.
Right.
So that is contributing to the bullying culture we have, or at least the political aspect of bullying.
That's just nuts.
But there's also, again, and I'm assuming I'm the youngest man in the room, and this even goes well past my time and my misspent youth. The world is different today. The landscape is different today. I could leave school at 3:30 and be done with it, and it's not going to affect my daily life. And I may rue tomorrow and having to go back into it, but I would have that respite. Now, that doesn't exist.
Why?
Because of texting, the internet.
Well, then don't text.
Facebook.
Then don't Facebook. Then don't Twitter.
Yeah, but that's just not the way the world is anymore.
That's not the world.
Those things are a reality now.
Yeah, those are integral parts of the digital natives. If I can smack myself for a moment,
we can't go backwards on
their daily life. Yeah,
I have been in 2 fights in my life. 8th grade Tim Ullman on the playground outside the junior high, and a guy in 1994 for whatever reason we won't talk about. Those are the only 2 times in my entire life I've struck another person.
What's your record?
Okay. But I still believe in cowboy justice. I still believe it's up to you and I as fathers. When there's a kid out there who just relentlessly picks on our daughter or son, I believe it's our job as fathers to go over to that house and talk to that father and say, are you going to straighten this out? Because this is unacceptable. See, I'm an adult and you're an adult and you're an adult.
No, I don't disagree with that at all.
The kids don't know
Mac.
better, but we do.
But Bradshaw's right. This is not the world we live in. Now we can talk about
Hold on, my ears are
why
bleeding.
we're not.
What'd you say? Bradshaw's right? My ears are bleeding.
Everyone comes to that opinion one way or
He's
another.
not right enough.
All right.
But But, we do have that society where parents are taking control and
Obama's master plan next on The Truth.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah!
If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places. Especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart. And it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you. All right, we're back. 10 before 4 on The Truth, 99.3 KTIA. You know, I'd like to know. I'd like to know if you enjoy this type of program.
Oh, God, no. What?
Shh. You can't say that on Christian radio. Heavens to mercy.
Let's just clarify that was Bradshaw.
Yeah. Boys with horns and pointy tails. Just don't give them a mic. But I'd like to know whether you enjoy this. I don't think we should do this every day, or I don't think we should do this all day long on Christian radio. I listen to Christian radio to be uplifted. I listen for Ravi Zacharias to tell me something new, or for R.C. Sproul to teach me what this word meant in Greek, or, I listen for the teachings. I listen for the upliftings. But we're not so far up the crosses that we can't look at life and what it's doing to us, right? I mean, we can't just run away and, la, 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 see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. We got to get out there and fight. And today's, here's my blog for today. Let me read it to you. You can go to macmccoy.com. President Obama's decision to continue the narrative that no religion, either terrorist or victim, will be tied to the current attacks by ISIS and other Islamic groups are committing that they are committing throughout the Middle East and across the world. That, my friends, may just be the political narrative, not Obama's master plan. And all Christians in Israel must now know the plan. I showed a map, and you've got this huge, bigger than the United States. And all the countries that are controlled by Muslim Brotherhood or ISIS or Hamas or Al-Qaeda, whoever it is in green. And then there's this sliver of red, hardly noticeable unless you've got good eyes or good glasses, and that's Israel. And every one of these countries are now being run or controlled by people who have openly said, I want Israel wiped off the map. So, dude, Obama, because he's very well of the Muslim religion, because he was a practicing Muslim, whether he still is or not, I don't care, but he has a lot of familiarity with that religion. Did he know that what he needed to do in his presidency was to get us out of the Jewish corner, get us out of protecting Israel, get us out of being obligated to go to war with them. So he knew the other countries would just take Israel over and America would be out of it. And in a way, America would be, not my backyard. We're concerned with a new world order that is not run by religion. Does that make sense to you? I'm not saying you have to agree.
I got nothing.
I guess that makes sense. The Middle East politics is so infused with religion, it's very difficult for me to consider how it could be separate. Not just in the states in the Middle East that claim to have a Muslim form of government, an Islamic form of government, Islamic law or not, or the more secular states. Israel is a secular state. It is high percentage nominal atheistic Jews. Probably one of the most significant religious influences in Israel right now is the American Christian dispensationalist movement, pumping political organizations with money and lobbying our government to continue a slavish support of Israel no matter what. It's highly convoluted. It's highly difficult to comprehend. It's not as simple as we want to have a religionless world, or that it's Jews are good and Muslims are bad. It's just not that simple.
Bradshaw?
Yeah, I don't know if you want me to touch this with a 10-foot pole, but one of the best things that George W. Bush ever did was make it very clear that we are not at war with Islam. I do not believe that Muhammad Ali, Felicia Rashad, Cat Stevens offer any sort of threat to this great nation. Just a hunch. I'm willing to go out on a limb on that one. And yeah, I think there are a lot of people who try to make it kind of an overly simplistic black, white, good, bad, 1-0. It's not a binary situation. And I think that part of the first step that you have to take is to realize that a lot of what comes out of any country's media is strictly for the ingestion of
propaganda.
The home team. Yeah. We need someone to blame for this. And if you're in the Middle East, you kind of have the all-time all-stars for blame them for our problems.
Well, but the issue is not, are we at war against Islam? I think most everybody in the United States would say, no, the United States is not at war against Islam.
I would take that bet if you poll Fox News viewers.
Oh, okay, but that's not really the issue. The issue is, are we ignoring, as the president seems to be want to do, are we ignoring the religious background of the conflict that is currently going there? And this is an organization that claims to be Muslim. Everybody in the world recognizes that there is a religious aspect, a significant religious aspect to what they're all about, except for our current administration. They seem to think that if we just don't mention Islamic in any of the discussions about the terrorism, that it will somehow either go away or these folks will come to think that we're all right.
Well,
and
considering
they
the tons of ordnance we're dropping on them, I don't think we're looking the other way or winning hearts and minds.
So what is the point then? That's the question. What is the point then of the continued insistence that this has nothing to do with Islam? I think everybody recognizes that it's a particular branch.
Because I wouldn't insult anyone by associating them with Isil.
Say that again.
I wouldn't insult anyone by associating with Isil. You just want them gone.
I was just surprised. I was perturbed also that I never heard the term Islamic terrorists. But then I was surprised when he didn't say, those people that were beheaded, those Christian people that were, he never said Christian either. And at first
but then he made a remark about the Crusades. So he blew his own argument by bringing the Crusades into the discussion when he said it was not religious.
Not a word you want to use over there.
No, well, not anywhere. Well, that's what they used. That's what they referred to as Christians. They referred to them as Crusaders. So it's
Wasn't that like 500 years ago?
longer than that.
Okay.
There were a lot of them. Some
And,
involving
and
children.
it's not as if the Muslims.
If you want to go there,
didn't-
we can talk about how the Democrats were the people who wanted slavery.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And when we switched sides, where did all those people go?
To the north.
No. Where? The
All right.
Solid South is.
The piano is playing,
Okay.
which means we're done. Michael, thanks for coming in today. It was a nice thing. It was a
Well,
God thing
thanks
you
for
stopped
letting
by.
me pop in.
It was
Bradshaw
fun. I
It
enjoyed
was
the
good to meet you
conversation.
finally.
in the house.
I'm
We're
glad
to,
anyone who gets my jokes, I'm down with.
Hey,
glad to have you here. Ryan's producing. I'm J. Michael McCoy. Do me a favor tonight. It's Tuesday tonight. Think of somebody you've got a resentment against, somebody you just can't handle anymore. Why don't you give it to God? Ask for forgiveness, and that's how you shall be forgiven. I'll see you tomorrow.